welcome to another episode of Enlightened Entrepreneur. Today's interview is sponsored by World Outsourcing Solutions, a company that specializes in providing outsourcing services and other business growth systems to individuals here or business owners here in the UK and the rest of the world. I invite you to check out this website for more information, www.worldoutsourcingsolutions.com. Now, today I'm super excited to be talking to a gentleman that I respect, Dr. Reggie Padin, on a very important subject, which I think you as a business owner need to become aware of that, because every now and again we get through difficult moments. So we have entitled this interview, Overcoming Dumpster Moments, Critical Skills Every Business Owner Needs to Have and Develop. Welcome to the show, Dr. Reggie.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure.
Excellent. And once again, we really appreciate you taking time to talk to our audience today about, the dumpster moments, how individuals can overcome that. Now, a little bit about you so that our audience will know about you. Now, your mission is, as we know it, is all about helping people overcome the dumpster moments and go beyond their limitation. Dr. Reggie Padin is an award-winning speaker. His story has inspired many to believe in themselves and recognize their God-given potential. From 1996 to 2006, Dr. Padin served as an ordained minister in 2 inner-city churches in Pennsylvania and Michigan, providing people in those communities with educational training, ESL, GED preparation program in order to enhance their lives, and much, much more. In fact, his academic credential includes a master's in divinity, an MBA in organizational management, a doctorate in education, the list goes on. And we are very privileged to have you again here on the show today.
Well, thank you so much for the great introduction, and hello from Miami, Florida.
Awesome. Now, to get us started, I know people always wants to know what prompted you to take this path in life to helping people.
Well, I think it originated from my own experience. Right. I made some choices as a young man that really could have hurt me long term. I stopped going to school, so I dropped out of school. I married very young, and I had a child. Right away after getting married. And you can imagine being in a situation where you don't have a solid education. You have no skills. You have a young wife and a young child, and not a very good job or a good income. Right. And so that became the part of my original story. The only thing I could find during those days, and mind you, we were going through a terrible recession during those days. This was in the early 90s, and we, I struggled. I struggled to find a good source of income. I was also an undocumented immigrant in Canada. My wife was Canadian. I didn't have any papers, so I couldn't find a job. When I finally got my work permit, I was able to land what I thought was a better job, but it was really as a janitor in a company that was going out of business, and I didn't even know it. Right. And so the company had to cut some costs, and they cut the waste management company. Right. And so my boss called me into his office one day, and he said, "Look, I need you to get a truck, and I want you to drive it up to every dumpster around the company. Get inside the dumpster, and take the garbage out of there. Put it in the truck, and drive it to the landfill, and leave it there." And that became my job. And I don't know if you've ever walked by a garbage dumpster. Yes. In the middle of the summer. It's not a pleasant.
No.
thing. Now imagine being chest deep inside a dumpster.
Wow.
In the middle of the summer. That was a wake up call for me. I decided right there and then that I needed to do something with my life. I needed to improve my life. and it became part of my mission, my life's purpose. I, even in those early days, I remember driving back from the landfill back to the company and thinking to myself, you know what, I'm going to use this story that could have, that humiliated me, that was that really crushed my self-esteem, that crushed my spirit. I said, I'm going to use this story to help other people overcome their dumpster moments. And so that's where it all began. That's where the passion to help people overcome their limitations came. And so I had to figure out a way to do it for myself first, because there's no sense in giving people advice if you've never gone through it.
Right.
And so I went, I had to figure out a way to do it myself and then share with other people.
Right. Incredible. What I admire about that is you have gone on to write, to help people, and you're teaching people to do exactly what you did, move your life from where it was to where it is right now, which is remarkable.
Yeah. I mean, I felt, and this book was years in the making, because I always felt, even though I was already, improving my life, and I was able to attain a lot of success and help a lot of people along the way, I always felt like I didn't have enough credibility,
right,
to talk to people, to have people listen to me, especially read a book, And so I completed my doctoral degree in 2014, and I had to, even after that, I felt that I wasn't adequately prepared to write a book that people would read, and I had to snap out of it. That became a new dumpster moment. That whole sense of self-doubt and fear as to whether or not I had enough there to share with people became a dumpster moment that I had to overcome. Right. And I had to go the same steps that I write about in the book. I've had to apply to every single dumpster moment in my life. Okay. And so it's very practical, and it's something that can be applied to any situation.
Incredible. And one of the things in the bio that we read there is you initially started out as a pastor. Talk to us about that journey for a moment, and how you help people overcome the dumpster moment.
Sure. I mean, so since I felt that it was my call to help people, even in that dumpster moment, I've always been a very spiritual person. I grew up in a Christian home. My dad was very much involved in the ministry, and so I had an inclination already to go in that path. And so I felt that the best way to help people overcome dumpster moments, because we are interconnected as individuals, and so our mental capacity is connected with our spiritual is connected to our physical is connected to our financial. I mean, all of those areas interconnect. And so I felt that maybe I could help people, starting in the spiritual sense, figure out what their limitations were, and then try to address everything else. And so I began that path. I went back to school. I here in the United States, we call it a GED, which is a diploma. I don't know if it's like that in the UK, but if somebody has not finished their high school, they can go back and take some set of studies, take some examinations which are really tough, right, in order to validate that the high school diploma.
Right.
And so I had to do that, and then after a couple of years, because it took a little bit of time to get ready for that, I ended up going to a Christian college in Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
Right.
And it was there that I also got my first experience working in an inner city environment with a lot of minority people. In my case, there were Hispanics, there were Latinos, working, and I had to work with the youth there. And so I was going to school, getting a degree in theology, right, and I was working as a minister. And it was during those days that I really felt that definitely our spiritual is can influence our spirit can influence everything else around us, and everything else around us can influence our spirit.
Right.
And so that's how I started my journey as a minister. I finished my degree there in that Christian college, and I landed another minister position in Michigan, and I was also able to attend seminary there for 3 years while I was while I was serving as a pastor. And so it became real to me, working with everyday people who were struggling in migrant communities that didn't have a lot of opportunities. And so it gave me a real sense of wanting to help people overcome those limitations in order to better their lives. So, you and I were talking about that when I was a minister in Michigan. For me, that meant it had to be real. It had to be practical. So we started programs that would help people attain their GEDs or learn English,
Right.
or learn basic computer skills, or learn how to put a resume together, or learn how to interview for a job, or even how to start their own business, the steps that they needed to do in order to start their own business. So these were practical programs that we put in place in order to help people overcome their dumpster moments.
Incredible. Well, it's obvious to me that you're the person to talk with when it comes to motivating people and empowering people to move towards, their destiny or to live life from.
Well, and this is what I tell people. I've been able to use my story, a story that could have ended in defeat,
Yes.
and turn it around and make something out of it. And
Yes.
and I'm not anybody special. This is something that I think everybody has the capability to influence other people and motivating other people.
Yes.
And so we can even take our own negative experiences, figure out a way to turn those things around,
Yes.
and then that becomes part of our story. And we're all in this together. Okay.
Incredible.
And so we need to be influencing our communities. We need to be influencing, of course, our family. We need to be influencing the future generations, and so they can learn so much from us. And that's what I've tried to do. And in fact, I wrote this book really for my children and my children's children. Now, today I have four children. They're not children anymore. My oldest is 24. My youngest is 19. And, now I'm getting to that stage where they're already, developing their own lives. And so they're going to become parents. And so I wanted to create something there and put it in their hands, and eventually put it in the hands of my future generation.
Yes.
That they could look back to and say, you know what? We can overcome whatever negative experience we're going through right now.
Yes.
There is a way of doing this, and so that's why I wrote the book. For other readers, and I've been able to talk to people, like you from the UK. I talk, we've promoted the book in India and in Shanghai, in Caribbean and Latin America. And that to me is a plus. It's what we call here icing on the cake. But the cake was being able to put something in the hands of my future generations.
Incredible.
It was my primary purpose.
Incredible. I appreciate that. And in a few moments, we're going to ask you to give us where people can find the book. But let's help individuals, those that are in that hard place right now.
Sure.
To get us started, would you give a broader and maybe definition of the dumpster moment, and paint that picture to our audience?
Yeah, a dumpster moment, the way I define it, is anything that limits you and prevents you from getting to the next level. And we've all been there, right? I mean, we hit a plateau. We may achieve some things, and then we get stuck. Right. And we can get stuck there for a day or a week or a month or a year or 10 years or a lifetime. And so that becomes a dumpster moment. Anything that prevents you from moving to the next level. And that can be, it can be mental.
Yes.
It can be a mental block. It can be a physical block. You're not doing something physically to do, to get over it. It could be, like we mentioned, a spiritual limitation. It could be a financial limitation. It could be a limitation of knowledge and skill. It can even be a toxic relationship that prevents us from getting to the next level. And you and I have both seen or maybe experience, how negative the negative impact that a toxic relationship, whether it's a friendship or a loved one or even a significant other, can influence and impact our ability to go to the next level.
Yes.
And so a dumpster moment is something that everybody experiences. I don't care who you are. You could be rich. I get to meet with incredibly wealthy people that have to experience some very, very serious dumpster moments in their lives, and I help them with that. You could be poor. You could be, you could be white. You could be black. You can be Latino. You can be Asian. You can be female, male. You can be living in the UK or in the United States or anywhere else in the world. Everybody experiences dumpster moments. And it's really up to us as to, okay, what am I going to do about it? And so that's the question that I always ask myself whenever I'm stuck in a dumpster moment in my life, is I can have either a sense of self-pity and have a pity party and feel sorry for myself and hope that other people feel sorry for me. Or I can choose to be strong and say, no, what am I going to do in order to resolve this situation? What am I going to do to overcome this dumpster moment in my life? And so that's, in a nutshell, that's the basics of what a dumpster moment is.
Incredible, and thank you for clarifying that. And as a business owner, you probably have have encountered this, just like what Reggie is saying here. And let's talk about what skills they need, particularly business owner need to develop in order to overcome this moment.
Yeah, you have to understand what brings people to those moments.
Yes, we can address that first.
And that is when you lose your purpose.
Right.
When you lose a sense of purpose in your life, you will end up in a dumpster moment. And so I tell people, whether they're entrepreneurs or educators or parents or just regular employees, is find your purpose. Define your purpose. Define your life's mission. Understand what your why is. We oftentimes go through life just living one accident after another, and I mean, just by chance. And I guess that's fine. I mean, some people choose to live that way. They don't like to plan. They don't like to envision the future. They don't like to, write goals. They don't like to do any of those things because that takes time and it takes work. But I tell people that the more clearly you can define your purpose, and then create a plan around that purpose, a plan of action, and then learn the skills necessary in order to become the very best at that particular, at your particular purpose, then my goodness, the sky's the limit for you. There is really no limit for you, because you can always get better. You can always learn new skills. And if you're in business, and you have to find out, okay, what is my passion, what is my purpose, and then what am I going to do to serve the customer, and then figure out the best way to serve the customer that is unique to you, that is unique to your business, and that nobody else is doing. there's no limit to your income potential. There's no limit to your growth potential once you figure that out. If you look at the most successful businesses and entrepreneurs have been able to really define what their purpose is, hone their skills, become masters at it, become masters at understanding what the customer needs and wants, or even figuring out what they think they may need or want,
Right.
and then providing that service and that product to that customer. And that's why today, they are as successful as they are. And so that's what I help people with. And business owners are no different than others. If the more clearly your purpose is, then your vision, your mission, your goals, your action plan, your finances, the way you allocate funds and time and resources and people will all fall behind what that purpose is. If you're not clear on that, then you're going to be spending and investing your time and money on things and people and ideas that are not really what your purpose is. And what the late Steve Jobs said, in an interview, he said, what happens is that if you do something and you're not passionate about it, when the roadblocks come, and the dumpster moments come, you're going to give up.
Right.
And so now you've invested all that time, all that effort, all that money, and you ended up giving up, and you have to start all over again.
Right.
So and he says the most successful people are the people who don't give up.
That's
because
right.
they're passionate about it. And so that's the key right there. That's the key to success, I think, is finding out what your purpose is, because then everything else you'll go through whatever you have to go through in order to get it done.
Incredible. Assuming that we've got that covered, we are clear on that. Is there any second skill they will need to then work on to ensure that to handle the things as they come?
Yeah, I mean, what I tell folks is, once you understand what your purpose is, then your whole mindset has to change.
Right.
And that takes a lot of skill. That's going to take a lot of research on your part, and reading and listening to programs like this, and reading books like mine, and going to the seminars and the workshops, and really investing yourself in it. So you are your mind is as sharp as it can be. Again, moving towards your purpose. And then you have to become a lifelong learner. It's something that you never really arrive. The minute you think you have arrived is the minute that you're stuck in a dumpster.
Right.
That's the minute that you'll end up in another dumpster. And so I tell people that one of the skills that they can develop is becoming lifelong learners.
Right.
I've been blessed. I've been able to attain in my field what they call a terminal degree. That means that there's nothing higher than the degree I received. And in fact, I did it with very, very high marks, and I got awards for it. So I achieved, in that sense, the highest level possible in my field in academia. But I'm not satisfied. I have to keep learning. I have to keep searching. I have to keep researching. I have to keep looking at other examples of successful people. I have to put things into practice. I have to develop discipline. Yesterday, and this is very very common for me. Yesterday my day started at 4:15 in the morning. It didn't end until close to 1 o'clock in the morning, my time.
Right.
And I had to be up for this interview with you in the UK at 6 in the morning. And so this is something that you develop over time, and you say, well, look, you got to stay hungry. You can't be satisfied with the status quo. You can't be satisfied with where you are. You got to be always pressing and pushing yourself to become better. And so those are skills that I tell people you have to develop, because if you develop that hunger, if you develop that passion, if you develop that sense of I need to get better at what I'm doing, then you're going to be so far beyond the competition, because nobody wants to do this.
Right.
The winners are the ones who do it. And that's very few people. Very few people are willing to sacrifice like that. Very few people are willing to, give up a little sleep here and there. And I gave up in my case, and I'm sure that this is true for a lot of your audience. I gave up watching television a long time ago. Now, it's not that I don't watch a program here or there or a sporting event here and there. But the whole notion of, coming home from a long day of work and sitting in front of a television for hours, to me, it's ridiculous, in my opinion. And so I rather take that time and learn a little bit more and learn about my product and my service and my customer and what people are looking for and needing, and how I can and devise a plan on how I can deliver that. Because I can tell you this much, only the winners are doing that.
Right.
The mediocre people are not. They're just sitting, they're sitting there and not doing anything about it.
Right.
And so if you can develop that type of mentality, you're gonna be a winner. For sure, you're gonna be a winner.
Absolutely. Success leaves clue, and we get the privilege of interviewing really successful people. They share exactly the same thing. And if you're listening out there, maybe this could be, just maybe, one of those things that you may want to inbuilt in your life and see if you get the results of what we're talking about. Now, what we're really talking about here is the changing the mindset of adopting a certain type of mindset to succeed.
Yeah.
What are the necessary steps one can take in order to reprogram their mind for this particular way?
And I don't know if this is true, in the UK. I've never been there, by the way. I hope to one day visit. And
You're welcome. This is what we call the capital of the world, especially here in London.
and so if we want to do this live in front of people, let me know, and I'll definitely accept your invitation.
Absolutely.
But here in the United States, I have found that people who are struggling tend to have a victim mentality.
Right.
They blame their upbringing and blame their parents and blame their leaders and blame the government and blame. Poor me, poor. I can't believe that I can never get a break. This is awful. The economy's bad. Nobody's buying my product. It's just a terrible mentality to have, because it's not a mentality that is gonna allow you to succeed. And so I tell people, the first thing is you have to accept responsibility 100% for your life.
Right.
And that is the very first step in reprogramming your mind. And so when you are heading down the path of wanting to blame other people, no, wait a minute, no, it's not about them, it's about me. When you're about to say, well, the economy is such and such, no, it's not the economy. It's okay, there's some nuances there, there's some details that I'm missing in how I can best serve my customer in this economy.
Right.
Take responsibility for your life. Because once you do that, once you really own the notion of I'm in charge here. I'm in charge for my life. And listen, I'm a very spiritual person. I believe I believe in God. I believe that God is helping us along the way. But I don't believe that God is controlling our lives. We're not puppets. I'm a firm believer in the whole notion and the whole idea of free will. And so that means I'm in charge. And so because I'm in charge, I'm responsible. I have to do something about it. And so that is, and to tell you the truth, that's the first thing that I put down on how to change your mindset, because it is probably the most difficult.
Right.
It is the most difficult because it's been like that from the beginning of time. We want to blame other people. We want to blame other people for our successes, for our failures, for why things are not going right, for why, people are not buying, or why our businesses are stuck, or, why I can't, we want to blame other people. Right. So that's the first thing. The other thing, and I'll be very brief because there's quite a few of these, and we won't have time. But I tell people that you have to embrace failure. You have to embrace failure because we've been programmed to believe that failure is bad. Now maybe some people in your audience, because you're entrepreneurs and you're business owners, you probably have a different mindset. You understand that failure is necessary in order to grow. But a lot of people, they failed and they give up. Right. They pack it in. And so you have to embrace failure. The most successful people have failed miserably multiple times before making it. I talk about envisioning. Visualization is very, very important, very big. Let me tell you something. I have never accomplished anything in my physical life without really having a solid vision, a vivid vision for that first. Incredible. And so I'm a huge proponent that one of the ways that we change our mindset is by envisioning envisioning the future, expecting something good is going to happen, and having the most clear picture of what that vision, what that future is. So I'll give you an example. When I wrote the book, I sat down and I envisioned what each chapter was gonna be laid out. I envisioned, some of the stories that I was gonna have in each of those chapters. I even envisioned the book cover. I knew what I wanted. I could see it. And now I didn't design the book cover. I didn't design the typeset. I didn't design all of that, but I was able to give that to the experts who actually put it together. And the biggest satisfaction for me was when I received my sample book and I held it in my hand for the first time, and I saw my vision right in my hands. And so that is a mindset that you have to develop. That is a mindset that takes time. And it's something that if we work at it every single day, we can do it. I talk about faking it until you make it. Sometimes you have to fake, your success before you get there. I talk about, you have to stop complaining because complaining, again, is not going to get you anywhere. It's not going to win you any favors. And it's not going to help your mind. Boy, I mean, there's so much more there that we can do to change our mindset. Get the book.
Incredible.
To get the book, they're gonna. I'm not doing it justice in this segment.
Yes. Now, while we're talking about the book, where can they find the book?
Probably the easiest way for people in the UK is to go to Amazon.com. I don't know if there's a Amazon.uk up there.
There is.
But go to Amazon, and if you type in "Get Out of the Dumpster," they can either get it on paperback or Kindle version, and start enjoying it. They can also visit my website. Reggie Padin, that's ReggiePadin.com, and they can find more information there. But certainly it's I've gotten nothing but positive results. I've gotten nothing but positive reviews, and people from all over the world are now really. This is a message that I think that can go across cultures and boundaries. Because again, everybody experiences these moments.
Incredible, and I'm certainly enjoying our time here together, which I can just imagine what the book has, especially when you take a concept, you explain it, step by step. I think.
And it's a very easy read, and the other thing about the book is that each chapter stands on its own. And so, and the way I did that is because I figured that, sometimes I'm struggling with the vision aspect of what I need to do, but sometimes my vision is clear, but sometimes I have to focus on the execution part. And so, people who are struggling with execution, they can go to that chapter. People who are executing but are not doing things excellent, they can go to focus on excellence chapter. Maybe you have everything laid out, but sometimes you lack momentum, and so I talk. You can go to the momentum chapter, or sometimes you need mentors, partners, and coaches, and so you can go to that chapter. So again, every chapter stands on its own, and you can focus on those things that you need help with.
Incredible. There's one thing that I know as we come to the end of our time together that you're passionate about is about giving something to the community or social responsibility. What are your beliefs around that, and
Well,
what action you've done so far in the past?
I guess that I'm a huge believer that we're all in this together.
Excellent.
And that my success cannot come just by me not helping other people. And so the more I help, the more I'm gonna be successful. Right? The more I share with people and help people succeed, and that is the basis of business, right?
Right.
That the more I help my people, the more invigorated they're going to be to go out there and sell their product and make that call and service the customer. They're going to be inspired, and so it starts with me. Now, I again, I'm a very spiritual person. I believe that I've been placed here for a purpose and a reason, and so I try to live out a higher calling of helping people who are in where I was when I first started. Now, I do believe in feeding and the hungry and doing these things, but I'm more of a practical kind of guy that I want to give them the tools that they need.
Right.
My education cost me, over $200,000. Now, and most people would probably never be able to afford that type of education. But what I can do is I can write books and create workshops and create seminars and do things that can condense that $200,000, the knowledge that I've been able to receive, and give it pay it forward. And so even as the day during the days of when I was a minister, I always try to look for for ways to give back, and that's one of the chapters that I write about. It's helping other people come out of the dumpster. Once you have figured out your dumpster moment and how to overcome, now I think one of the greatest things that we can give society is help other people come out of their dumpsters, of the same dumpsters that we were in. And so, imagine if everybody took that approach. Our world would be a different place. And so that's what I want to do. That's what I'm in my early 40s. I still hopefully have a long life ahead of me. Yes. But I've entered like the second chapter of my life. And so for the next 30 years, 40 years, that's what I want to do. I want to help other people come out of their dumpsters, and then instill in them the need for them to go out and pull other people out of other dumpsters.
Incredible. We appreciate you, Dr. Reggie Padin, and your inspiration to a lot of people. I know for a fact in our audience to go out and make a difference, make something out of their lives. And I want to thank you for being here today and sharing your insights with us.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
Incredible. And want to invite you guys, if you were listening, to go to this website, www.reggiepadin.com. That's REGGIEPADIN.com to connect with Dr. Reggie Padin here. You will be amazed at the thing that you discover. As we always say, success leaves clue, and figure out who has the success you want, and follow what they're doing, and you will get the exact success they do. And as you can tell, Reggie here started from a very difficult place, made some decisions, and a few years, well, I say a few years, but a few good years there, has transformed his life, reached the highest level of learning, out there helping people. So there is something you can learn. I highly recommend you get in touch with Dr. Reggie Padin. With that said, any questions you have, you can find Dr. Reggie Padin as well on social media. What are your social media, actually? I haven't asked you about those ones.
Yeah, they can find me on Facebook, yes. Dr. Reggie Padin, or Instagram, Dr. Padin.
Excellent.
Let's see. You can find me on Twitter, Dr. Padin, and so yeah. If they go to my website, they can find all of our social media places. Definitely, would love to connect with a lot of people in your audience. Okay. And so again, thank you for having me.
Absolutely, we will certainly do that. And for you listening, let's make things happen. And I love what Dr. here said about giving or participating in the community, because this is the core of what we do as business owners. If we all play our small part, whatever it may be, practical, spiritual, motivational, whatever it is, imagine a world that we could create. Is certainly better than we have right now. We have an amazing world as it is, but it will get even better when we have those qualities injected into our society. With that said, Dr. Reggie Padin, once again, thank you for joining us, and we want to wish you all the success in what you're doing, and I know you've got a great day ahead of you today.
Thank you.
You're welcome. With that said, thank you for joining us. I want to invite you to check out worldoutsourcingsolutions.com for any outsourcing needs or business growth systems. Have a great day. This is Yokai Kajidori. Goodbye.